This episode is brought to you by Audible.com. If you like listening to beautiful voices like ours instead of reading words, then head on over to Audible, where you can get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Paratruth, where you can choose from over 180,000 titles for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player.
Christian and non-Christian paranormal investigators. They have two different views, and it seems as if neither of them can ever agree on anything. So what happens when a mainstream view of the paranormal crosses paths with the Christian view? Something epic. This is Paratruth Radio.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Paratruth Radio. My name is Eric.
And I'm Justin.
And just a few housekeeping things before we get on to tonight's show. First and foremost, if you are new to Paratruth Radio, feel free to check out our website at paratruthradio.com. You'll be able to learn more about us and about our show. You'll also be able to check out our last and all, that is, 148 episodes of Paratruth Radio since the beginning. So you're going to want to check those out if you like tonight's show.
Holy balls.
Yes, 148. We're almost at the 150 mark. It's amazing. Keeping track of that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
In other news, we do have something very cool, finally, for something that I've been wanting to share with you guys. I know Justin has been too.
Yeah.
But after many months and dare I say years, because it's been a while now.
The idea has been years. Actually getting it going has been months.
Yeah. Yep. Justin's book is finally complete. Yes. Yeah. We are looking forward to that. We're looking forward to a future episode all about him and his book, because let's face it, it's not always about us. But I've been looking forward to this episode, and I'm just happy that he's finally got it done.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about this because I've been pushing Justin for the last year to really buckle down and get this book done. He's been buckling down and working really hard. It's been tough. I know what it's like. I know those of you who are authors out there who tune in every week, you know what it's like to get a book done, especially when you have a specific time restraint and you're focused and pushing to meet it. And despite the fact that we've missed one, the last date that we wanted to get it out here, we're finally here, midsummer. Dude, I'm going to pass it on to you for a moment just so you can tell people a little bit what it's about, because I know we have friends out there who have been interested in this topic.
Yeah. So the title of the book is called The Legendary Creature Project, The Griffin. Now, this book is about a griffin named Achilles. Achilles wakes up in a laboratory being told that he was found, that he is special, and this protagonist, Dr. York Hemshine, is the one that has found him. Now, through the first, I'd say, half of the book, we find out that Achilles isn't what he is assumed to be. He himself finds this out, as well as a lab assistant named Hillary, who decides to help Achilles escape the lab that he's in to get away from Dr. York Hemshine. And through the last half of the book, it's about the escape and the adventures of Hillary and Achilles after they escape the laboratory.
Mm-hmm. And we have a somewhat specific or specified time on the release date for this, do we not?
Yeah. I'm shooting for July 1st. I'm waiting on cover art. So if you guys are listening to this Sunday and it's not out yet, it will be out next week, or this coming week sometime. And if you're not following me on my author page on Facebook, do that. You'll see the updates as time permits and as I'm getting them as well. and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited about it. One thing that was suggested to me is to get out there, get on podcasts, get on college radio here in Bismarck, and get the word out that way. So I'm looking forward to trying getting it rolling.
Heck yeah! So that's awesome, dude. Congratulations, finally getting that done. It's been a journey, and I know you're excited to finally wrap this one up and move on to the next project. So we're looking forward to that as well. But folks, we are going to come back to this story later on, sometime a couple weeks down the road, because we are going to have an episode specifically about Justin's book. So keep a watch out for that. We will be revisiting it soon enough. With that said, I think that wraps up our house cleaning for the week. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day or night or evening or morning, whenever you may be listening to this. Perhaps you're enjoying a nice cup of coffee or enjoying a nice, very boring drive to work. Regardless, we got a fun episode for you today.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, for those of you listening at FringeRadioNetwork.com as well as ParatruthRadio.com, let's get ready to expose some lies.
Now Paratruth presents The Devil's Tunes with special guest Mary Cali.
So music has had a positive influence on people groups and individuals over the years, inspiring many to reach higher, to go further, and dig deeper within themselves. Music has helped shape modern America. The likes of Louis Armstrong, Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, and many more, each placing their mark in music history. However, though music has always been influential, it isn't always good. And so it is in many stories creeping through the paranormal pipeline. Over the years, we have heard stories about individuals who have been negatively impacted by music. Some even claim that music or specific songs can open doors to negative entities and start both physical and spiritual struggles with demonic forces. Today, we're going to hear one such story from our friend, Mary Cali.
All right, Mary Cali, welcome to Paratruth Radio. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I'm enjoying the weather. It finally let up on the humidity.
Yeah, it's turning it back up here in North Dakota, so I feel your pain.
Yeah, it's East Coast stuff over here in the DMV, so it's always humid in the summertime. So
yeah.
I'm just happy that I was able to go outside and not instantly be moist.
Right. So before we get started, I wanted to give you a chance to tell everybody a little bit about how you got on this journey, because you have a cool story, and I really wanted you to tell us all about it. But kind of give us a background, and I know you have your own podcast, so I want to give you a chance to tell everybody how you got started with that as well.
Okay, well, let's start from the beginning. I've been doing online radio since 2005, but I started Next Chapter Radio Network in 2013-14. And I actually teamed up with someone that you know very well, Justin Fowle.
Yeah.
Of the Fourth Watch Radio Network, when he was actually with someone else. He didn't even have his own.
Oh, wow.
And we talked, we talked for a while, and I had him on the show, I think, maybe once or twice, and I was disbanding my secular side of Next Chapter Radio Network because I could just feel God's call on my heart, like, okay, you've been in the street too long, time for you to come in the house. Okay, the street lights are on, it's time for you to come in. So 2014, I pretty much dissolved what I had, and I had a panel of like 5 people. I told them no more secular Next Chapter Radio Network. So all the foul language, all of this, all of that, that's gone. It's going to be a Christian network, and I just feel God leading me in that direction. And what happened was I lost everybody. I lost everybody. Everybody left.
Wow.
We can't, we can't talk like this, and no, I can't do the show. So, I mean, no big deal. I mean, it kind of was hurtful, but what God was doing was purging. So He got rid of the people that were there, and He put Justin there, which was really funny. And then, I took down my Next Chapter Radio Network. I put that on hiatus. And we started the Fourth Watch Radio Network. And basically, he always liked that, I guess, that Fourth Watch thing. So we went with that, and we started doing shows on the actual network. He had his, I had mine, but it still came under the network. But as God would have things happen, he started going in one direction, I started going in another. But we still pray for one another. We still wish each other well. We bless we bless each other, and we have each other's back. And his ministry's doing well, mine is doing well, and we still keep in touch. So he has his Fourth Watch Radio Network. I'm back to Next Chapter Radio Network, so I'm starting from scratch again. And it's been a slow go because of, it's just one of those type of things. Well, making a long story short, which is too long already, I had somebody listening to the show. It was a lawyer in Atlanta. Did not know this woman was listening to it. Apparently she's some big-time lawyer, and she really enjoyed the show. And she ended up getting me into, maybe you should write a book about your experiences. I think you have a story to tell. I'm telling her I know I'm not a writer. She's saying, but you can learn. And next thing you know, I'm writing a book. Okay, and the next thing you know, I'm writing a book about me being a preacher's kid. For those of you who don't know, I'm a preacher's daughter.
Okay.
And all of the stuff I got into. And one of the things that I guess you guys are more interested in is one of the chapters that's in the book. Actually, it's 2 chapters in the book that deal with demonic appearances that happened because of my disobedience. Mm-hmm. So this is where we are right now. This is where we are right now. And matter of fact, I'm going to be doing a show later on tonight for our community therapy, but that's neither here or there. But that's what's up right now. Is I'm doing. I guess you could say the book is basically about me being disobedient and me getting delivered from my disobedience. So the name of the book is From Disobedience to Deliverance. And, story of a preacher's kid. So that's it in a nutshell, even though that nutshell is kind of big.
That's all right. Eric's always a big nutshell if I ask him a question, so don't feel bad.
It's all good. Yeah. Well,
I try to put it all in.
Well, first and foremost, good luck on your book. We're going to be praying about that for you. And congratulations on sticking to the podcasting and just moving on your own. Because I know when trials come along, many people tend to just kind of drop the towel and walk away, So congratulations for keeping it going. And even though it's tough now, I know and our listeners, most of them know, God will be with you and continue moving you forward. So good luck with all of that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'm not by myself. God did grow it. I have 2 wonderful guys that, co-hosts that are with me, Tori Lyon and Phil Williams with One to Make a Difference. I even have an intern now. So God did multiply it, and he's growing it at his pace, and I'm pleased.
Cool. Cool.
Awesome.
It's a beautiful thing. But anyway.
So now the reason we have you on there's a little discussion between you and Justin about how music happened to have a negative influence on you at one point in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, this is actually interesting because it's something that we've come across. It's kind of come down the paranormal pipeline more often over the last couple of years than it has, back in the 90s or early 2000s. So it's really interesting that more people are coming out and saying how music has impacted them negatively. Mm-hmm. So if you will, and you're willing, can you just please share your story with us and tell us exactly what happened?
Okay. I will share the one that happened when I was between the age of 14 and 15.
All right.
I did have one that happened again when I was about 19. And but 14, 15 is the predominant one where it really got freaky, and it was my first experience. I am, again, a preacher's daughter. And being a preacher's daughter, you don't play any secular music in the house. It wasn't allowed. The house was dedicated to God. My father was very stern and strict on that. He used to always tell me, you don't know what that music is, don't play that music, blah, blah, blah. When you're 14, 15 years old, you don't really listen. You just don't really listen. You're like, okay, the old man doesn't know what he's talking about. I mean, my parents had me kind of late in life. So, I'm thinking, the old man doesn't know what's going on. Man, I don't know what he's talking about. This is just nothing.
Well, to be fair, at 36-year-old, I'm still not listening to my father, but
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there.
I'm telling you, I didn't start listening until I got in my 40s, okay? But that's a different story for another time with DJing and all of that. But in this case, what I would do, I was privy enough to have a boombox. I think my brother bought it for me or something like that. And I had a boombox, and I saved up my little allowances and whatnot, and I would buy cassette tapes. I'm dating myself, okay? Cassette tapes, all right? And I would take the cassette tapes, and I would mix it in with the gospel tapes. My parents never really went in my room, looked at everything that was going on. So they pretty much, I had my headboard filled with cassette tapes. So they didn't know what was secular and what wasn't. Just assumed that all of it was gospel music, okay? Mm. So I would wait for them on Saturdays after I did my chores to go to the grocery store, which is every Saturday. And when they would leave, I would look out the picture window, at the front window, just to make sure they were gone. Because I know I can't play that music in the house. Talk about a sneaky kid. I was a sneaky kid. When you're a preacher's kid, you become very sneaky, okay? So, because you got to, you want to do everything else the kids do, other kids do, and, you got to be a little bit, so creative in your sneakiness. So I would wait for them to leave, and when I knew they were gone, I would run back to my room, grab the boombox, and grab my cassette tapes. But this one Saturday, I did that. I waited. 10 minutes went by. Okay, I know for sure they're gone. It's been 10 minutes. Okay, now this is back in the 80s. Okay, this is in the 80s. I go back and I get the boombox. I bring all the cassette tapes out. I plug it in. I'm getting all of my tapes out. I had LTD, Prince, Quiet Riot. I had, just a plethora of different types of genres of music. Okay? So I'm playing all of this stuff, and this was during the Footloose era where, you're dancing around the floor, you got your white socks on, and your jeans, and you got the broom handle, and you're singing, you think you're singing to the crowd, you're just dancing around. That's what I was doing. And I put in the tape that was by Prince, and it was called I Get Delirious. The name of the song was Delirious.
Okay.
One of the best songs. I love that song, but it didn't get much airplay, if any. And I was in the floor, and I would just play it, and then I would have it blasted, and I was just dancing along, and I had that broom handle, and I was just, oh my God, I was going into it. I was going in, and I got hot. I was like, whoo, I need something to drink. And so I put the broom down. I left the music playing. And the way our house is, my dad built this house. It's a little small bungalow. You walk in the front door, and you got living room and dining room. It's open air. And then when you go to the dining room, there's a hallway to your right. As I was leaving from the living room and going through the dining room to hit the kitchen, which was straight ahead, I happened to look to my right down the hall. That's when hell came to visit me, okay? I looked to the right, and there was this thing. I would not wish anybody, even the people that's in hell right now, I would not wish for them to see this thing. Okay, your worst enemy, I would not wish for them to see this thing. This thing was from floor to ceiling, and it was hunched over, which means it was probably bigger than that, but it made itself fit that area as far as the height from floor to ceiling. It was a blackness that I've never seen before in my life, but it was an ashiness to it, but it wasn't an ashiness. The color was just unfamiliar, but void of color. It was just the craziest, darkest thing I've ever seen, but I could see every detail of it. Strange, weird. And as it's standing there looking at me, I'm going to describe what this thing looks like. From the feet, looked like a whole foot. So it was a whole foot. It had the calf of a man. It had the thighs of a man. Had kneecaps. But it was slightly bent. This thing was muscular. There was not an ounce of fat on it. Do you hear me? Muscular. You could see the muscular detail in this thing. And you could see the little hairs on its leg. That's why I said it was so strange. Because I could see every detail from where I was, and it was at the end of the hallway. And it was black, but a different type of black. So as I'm looking at this thing, And I go up to the waist. The waist is that of a man, okay? But it's not, I know this is not a man. You keep going up, and you see the 6-pack or the 8-pack. You can see every detail, all the ridges, everything. You could even see the side muscles. That thing, like I said, it had no fat on it. It was completely muscular. And it was just standing there, hunched over, and you could see the pecs on it, and you could see the hair on it. But it wasn't a lot of hair. It was just light hair, but when I say light, it wasn't like thick. You could see it. You knew it was there, but it wasn't to the point where it was obstructing the vision of the actual muscles.
Okay.
The arms on this thing was like really skinny, but muscular. Long arms. The hands. I've never seen hands that big before in my life. You know, like you see the old Dracula movie, the very first one, where his hands were all like, crunched. Yeah, yeah. His hands were like that. But like I said, this thing was black, all black. And they were big like that. The nails on that thing was sharp, pointy. You could tell they were thick, and they were black as well. Okay? Now, move on up. The skin, matter of fact, let me just say this. The skin on this thing, even though it was muscular, was like scaly. Mm-hmm. It was like a scaly lizard type of thing, you know? And as I just moved up to the chest and then the neck, the neck was kind of long. He was hunched over. His shoulders weren't that wide because he was kind of hunched over like he was trying to fit into that area of space. Now, let's get to the head. The head. This thing, its head was like a wolf, but it wasn't a wolf. It was like, you seen the movie Aliens, kind of pointy, but it wasn't like Aliens. It was the weirdest, pointiest snout I have ever seen. It had canines, but the canines were extremely long. Even the front teeth were, because he was looking at me. He was looking at me, and you could see the teeth and the canines, and the front canines, and those things were just long. And his snout was like that of a wolf, but you could see the little wrinkles in it, in the nose part, and it was kind of like a canine nose, but not really. It's hard for me to picture this. I mean, to explain this. The ridge of the nose was just really long. The eye and his head sloped back at like a 45-degree angle. Forehead sloped back, 45-degree angle. The eyes on this thing were like cue balls that you would use to play pool. Yellow with a red dot. His pupil was a red dot. The ears on this thing, have you ever pet a dog and his ears go back? Mm-hmm. His ears kind of laid back. They were like that, but they were really long and pointed and sticking past the head. Okay?
Okay.
And he had wings. This thing had wings.
Huh.
It had wings in its back. And those wings went from the top of his head to mid-calf. They were huge. And he just stood there and he looked at me. And it just seemed like forever. Do you hear me? It seemed like forever, ever. And I was just standing there looking at it, and it was looking at me. And the music is just blazing. It's just blazing. And I got to my senses, and I'm like, you can't just stand here and just stare at this thing. You got to do something. All these thoughts started flooding through my mind. Daddy said not to play this music in the house. This is probably what he was talking about. I need to get out of this house, but I can't leave the music on. Oh, what am I going to do? What am I to do? So I decided to just slowly walk past the entrance as if I'm going to the kitchen, straight through the dining room. I get to the kitchen, I'm no longer hot and I'm no longer thirsty. Forget that. Okay? The focus now is getting out alive. All right? Getting out alive. So I know I have to go back the way I came because I can't leave that boombox on in the living room. I can't do it. My parents will come home, this thing will be just blazing. I can't do that. I got to turn it off, which means I got to go back the way I came. This thing I don't know where it is. It might be right next to the hallway, right to the entrance. I don't know where it is now. It's out of sight. So I build up the nerve, and I slowly walk to the entrance, which is just going out of the kitchen into the dining room. And I look down the hall, and I can't see it. It's not there. Now my mind is racing. Where is it? Okay. Is it in my room? Is it coming up behind me? Is it coming up through the den and going through the kitchen and coming up behind me? Is it going to just, as I'm looking down, am I going to look forward? There it is. Is it in the living room? I mean, now my mind is just running. But I knew enough to get out of the house. The atmosphere in that house was so heavy. It was so dense and so dark. I can't even explain what it felt like. Okay? I walked over to the boombox. I didn't care if my parents saw the boombox. I just knew I had to get it out. I just had to turn it off. I turned it off. I had no shoes on, and I wasn't going back in my bedroom to get it because that means I had to go down the hall. Forget about it. I'm just going to walk out with my socks. Okay? So I leave the house. It's beautiful out. Crystal clear day, about 78 degrees. There's no humidity. It's beautiful. Okay? And I walked to my aunt's house. I closed the door, lock it, of course, walked to my aunt's house in my white socks, my jeans, and my T-shirt. And I'm walking up this, this country road, which is she's only like maybe 300 feet away from me, 300 to 500 feet. I go to her house, and she's going, "Where's your shoes?" I'm like, "Oh, I just decided to walk over here barefoot." She goes, you kids nowadays. And so I asked for my cousin. She said, "Oh, he's in the back." I refused to go home. I got my cousin. We went out on the front porch so I could see my parents come home. It wasn't long. My parents came home. I asked my aunt, "Could I use your phone?" She said, "Sure." I called my dad. I said, "Daddy, can you come get me?" He goes, "Yeah, where are you?" "I'm over at my aunt's house, my aunt Sissy's house." And he goes, "Why don't you just walk home?" Because it was that close, right? Mm-hmm. And I go, "No, can you just come get me? Can you just come get me?" It's like, okay. I think he knew, because when they walked in, they probably seen the boombox and all the cassette tapes and whatnot. And he came and he got me. And he looked down and he goes, "Where's your shoes?" I said, "They're in the house." He goes, "Well, go in there and get them." I said, "No, they're in our house." And so as we're cruising home, because you don't really need to drive fast, you're only 300, 500 feet away, he goes, "You saw something in the house, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "I told you, don't play that music in the house. This music is demonic. It is of Satan. It is not of God. When you play that music, you are celebrating them, and things will show up. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. It's there, and you need to understand that. You need to start listening to what I'm saying." And I just sat there in the car with my head down. We pull into the driveway. He gets out the car, goes in the house, no problem. I'm hesitant. I don't want to go back in there. I don't want to go back in. I don't want to go back in. So I go in, and the atmosphere is light. It's real light again. I go in. My mom's in the kitchen. She's looking at me. She gives me that look like, "You got caught, didn't you? Saw something, didn't you?" Without even saying a word. Just, that look that a mother can give you.
Yeah, that look is unmistakable for sure.
That look your mother can give you, without saying a word. She can say a whole paragraph with just one look. So I grab my boombox. I grab the cassette tapes. I stand at the end of the hallway, and I'm like, I got to walk down here. Oh, goodness. And so I'm slowly walking down the hallway. I get to the part where the demon was, and I'm standing right in that spot. And to the left is my room, to the right is my mother's room, and straight ahead is the bathroom. It's a small bungalow. And I make that left, and I go to my room, put all the stuff in there, and then I cut out of my room and cut through the den, and my dad's laying there. And I think it finally hit me that this is deeper than I ever imagined. But do you not know that I was still hard-headed? I didn't listen to that music for a while, for like a few weeks. Notice I said a few weeks. And then I went right back to it again. Okay? I went right back to it again. I don't think people understand that. I used to also DJ. That music that is secular has a demonic influence. Whatever that music is intended for you to do, you will do. That's why there's certain music that when you play in the car, next thing you know, you're going 95 miles an hour. There's other music that will have you getting busy with somebody. Babies are being made off of. That's that demonic spirit that is with those songs that people don't even realize, that drives you to do the things that you do that you would not ordinarily do. Secular music has demons with it, and people don't realize they have demons with it. You wonder why certain rap music at one point, West Coast, East Coast, they were shooting each other and all this other nonsense. Mm-hmm. That's demonic. Music makes you do stuff. If you don't believe me, put on Teen Spirit by Nirvana and watch what happens to people. Okay? Put on certain songs that is memorable and watch what people do. Watch how they act. Watch how they move. The music that is being played in the secular world, the demons that are with it also drive the dances that they do, that we do here on the natural plane. People don't even realize the dances, secular dances that they do are actually demonic moves that was put there, that was influenced by the demons that are on the music. People don't even realize what they do in the master room. They don't realize what they do with the masters now. At one point, which I'm sure you guys probably heard on Zodiac Record, when the guy was saying they go to the room and they do some spells on the master. Well, it's a little bit different now. They don't have to go to the room. They don't go to the room anymore. And they just do what they need to do with that master right then and there. And the beautiful thing, but the beautiful thing with what they're doing, and it's not beautiful, it's a beautiful curse actually. What they're doing is the demons are not just trapped on the medium itself. It can be in the airways, which is what Satan is anyway. He's the prince of the airways.
Right.
So people don't understand that you don't have to buy the album anymore. You can just download a demon now.
Download a demon. That's great. I haven't heard of it quite like that.
You can download a demon. You can YouTube a demon. You can, Spotify, whatever you want to call it. You can have a demon. You can iTunes a demon. I mean, it doesn't matter. If you can get a hold of the secular music, you can bring that demon into your house, into your atmosphere. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And just because you stop playing it right then and there doesn't mean it's gone. People got to understand this. We live in a spiritual world. We are spiritual beings in a dirt sack, okay? And you need to understand that what happened to me that day was something showed up. They said, oh, okay, you want to get that? We getting down like that? Okay, come on, let's go. Okay, I'm going to show up because you really worship me. As I was dancing around the floor and pretending to sing and all that kind of stuff to Prince Delirious in 1999 and all that kind of stuff, as I'm standing there, 1999 wasn't out then, or was it? I'm not sure. But I know Delirious was out. The Controversy, I think, was coming out. I had all the Prince, by the way. I had so much music. It was fun. And, as I'm standing there and I'm doing that, you know that's a form of worship? You're not worshiping yourself. You're worshiping Satan. I mean, people just don't get it. They just don't get it. So that was one instance that happened. Another instance I don't think we got time for. So.
All right. Well, one thing I wanted to ask is, I mean, music is a very powerful thing. I mean, regardless of whether you're listening to it to uplift yourself or to take your mind off things, anything like that. The one thing that jumps to mind, just because I'm a skeptical mind at heart, did you guys ever have anything happening like that before that incident, or was this that first time for you?
First time.
First time? Okay.
It was the first time. Yeah. Here's the thing, again, this was the first time it happened to me, but I noticed that things like that happen to me when I'm very disobedient. Okay. Things show up. Okay? Mm-hmm. Disobedience is, you're going against God, but you're worshiping something else. I mean, come on. If you're being disobedient to one thing, you're being obedient to another. Okay?
Right.
And, that's the way but no, and nothing ever like that ever showed up in the house.
Okay.
Never.
Well, actually, now that you had mentioned the disobedience thing, because that was something I wanted to bring up as well, and just get your thought on it. I mean, you're saying that it was the music that brought on this demonic entity, but at the same time, you disobeyed your father. And we see in the Bible that when one of God's children disobey him, he allows certain things to happen, whether it be an evil entity to harm them, such as Job, or he just allows certain things to happen. So can you honestly 100% say that it is the music that brought about this entity, or was it just disobeying your father and God saying, well, no, this is what's going to happen when you disobey?
No, I can't say it's the music. I mean, this has happened. Like I said, this happened to me twice, but I know of two other accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Same demon showed up in a club. Same demon. Same demon. This time, everybody in the club saw it. The
Wow.
same demon showed up months later. It was like in August when this happened to me. It was like maybe in the spring. When this happened to the club people that were in the club on a Sunday, getting down with the get down. Let me tell you, the same when they described that thing. I told my dad, I said, that's the same demon that was in the house. And that story is totally crazy. And that club is no longer in existence. Nobody went back to that club after that. It wasn't just one person that saw it. It was everybody, including the DJ. I mean, everybody was scattering. The ones that could. The other ones that felt like they were trapped did not go anywhere. They were like, okay, if we get up out of this table, from under the table, this thing is going to see us. That thing stayed there for a while, and it was dancing with someone. I mean, it's crazy what transpired. So, no, it's not disobedience. It does stem from the music, and it really doesn't matter what type of music you play when it comes down to secular music, whether it's country music, rock music, R&B, hip-hop, trap music, which they have out now, all of that, whether it's rave, techno, hip-hop, I said that before, go-go, it doesn't matter. Blues, it doesn't matter. If it's not glorifying God, who do you think is glorifying? Who's getting the worship from that? So there's spiritual things that transpire with the things that we do. We're not just doing things just to do things. Things are, we have a spirit in us, and it's a spiritual world. And that spiritual world can come over to the physical realm and show itself if it chooses to.
Right.
So I was strong. It's music. Man, being a DJ, I feel really bad that I was a DJ because I've put a lot of people in harm's way. When you understand how the spiritual world works, you understand that you were a proponent or a catalyst. You were using the music to get people to react. And the music that I played was hip-hop, R&B, a little bit of rock, more house music and stuff like that, very sexualized, and things of that nature. It caused people probably to commit fornication, which is a demon, adultery, rape, murder. Think about it. Lust. Think about it. I mean, these are not of God. These feelings are not of God. So the music will make you feel certain things, but that's not music. The music itself, even the rhythm pattern, I could get into all of that as far as the rhythm pattern. There's a certain rhythm pattern that is used in secular music that is not used in true Christian gospel music. And that's why, it's crazy. That's why I'm really leery of some of the music that's out here right now, because sometimes you can't tell the gospel music or the Christian music from the secular music.
Right. Let me ask.
Crosses the line.
Yeah. Let me ask you one more question here before we let you go. This is something that's actually come up on a number of forums, Christian forums, especially within the paranormal community. There are people out there that say there's only a specific type, and I'm not exactly sure what type, but a specific type of Christian music that is okay to listen to. But any other Christian music, such as Casting Crowns, for example, isn't actually worshiping God. That's demonic music. Okay. Is that something, now in that respect, because I mean, personally, Casting Crowns, I find them to be one of the best Christian bands out there today. But is that something you agree with, or do you have a different opinion on that kind of thing? Like, is there a specific brand of music that is, this is the type of music that is only for God, and that any other Christian music outside of this isn't of God?
See, I think what you're trying, what the forum is saying is that, is there certain genres of music that can be of God and certain genres that's not?
Yeah.
You can sing about God in any genre, provided that you sing it about God. Okay? I mean, seriously. Now, there's a difference between Christian inspirational music and gospel music. Gospel music has the gospel in it. Kind of like David, okay? David was a psalmist. He sung songs and whatnot to the Lord. Would we call him a Christian artist? So right now, probably. Okay? He made up songs to the Lord. But he specifically sung about God specifically. Okay. You do have some Christian artists that blur the lines, like your Lecrae and whatnot. They blur the lines. You know, they really they put themselves in it in the music as well. That to me is you know,
right.
I don't think there's one genre or another genre that is not. This is touchy because see, here's the thing. I really want to say what I want to say, but I know it's your show, so.
Well, first and foremost,
I really want to say.
I want to tell you that we're not worried about offending anybody or what have you. We say what's on our minds, and you know, if the people like it, fine. If not, that's okay too. So speak your mind. I have no problem with that.
Okay, I'm gonna say this.
Right.
You do not want to take what the world does and try to make it gospel or Christian or inspirational. Don't do it, because it carries that same rhythm pattern, frequency, and everything with it. It's just like Kirk Franklin. Kirk Franklin took R&B music and then made stomp and everything else, which really was stuff from the Parliament Funkadelics, and made it Christian and Christian music, and people embraced it. But you don't realize what you're listening to. The first thing you do when you hear that music is you don't think of Jesus Christ. You think of the Parliament Funkadelics. You're like, hey, wait a minute. Oh, okay, all right. This is George Clinton. Okay, but he just changed the words. Oh, good. No, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. Okay, that's the turd in the punch bowl. That's what he just did. Okay, he didn't ice cubes in. He put a turd in the punch bowl. Okay, you can't drink that now. It's contaminated. It's contaminated, and that's what people do. And they do because they trying to, you know, they get on secular labels. And I tell you something, if anybody is listening and you're a Christian artist, do not get on a major label. Start your own and stay true to the Word of God. That's all I can tell you. Because the moment you go over to like places like RCA, MCA, Sony, or whoever, okay, Virgin or whoever, Jive or whoever, is the moment that you come under that umbrella. And you're going to have to do what they say do, dress the way they dress, and, you know, put out the music they want you to put it out the way they want you to put it out. That's why you see a lot of Christian artists and gospel artists. You can't tell who's Christian and who's gospel. I'm telling you, if you were to meet these people on a regular basis who's walking around, you would not know any different. We as children of God are supposed to stand out. We're not supposed to blend in. But that's what's happening. So when it comes down to that music thing, I'm going to be honest with you. You don't want to do what the world does. Your sound should be totally different from the world. Totally different from the world. Your words should be totally different from the world. It should not be mimicking what the world does. But the reason why a lot of people like it, because it's familiar. You know, it's got that secular feel, you know. A lot of us used to be in the world, and now we're not of the world, but we remember what that world was like.
Right.
Like I can remember, you know, the music I played. I remember Led Zeppelin that I used to get high to, and the Deep Purple and the CCR and all of that. I remember all that stuff, you know. So if somebody were to take that music or that pattern or Cream or whatever and put that to a Christian music or whatever, I know it instantly. But what do you think is making me remember that? So that demon is, I'm serious. Don't think this stuff goes away. It doesn't. It doesn't. People don't know the Pandora's box they open. They really don't.
Yeah. Well, and Pandora didn't know the box that she was opening when she opened it. So there you go.
How about that?
Well, it's really interesting that you had a story that corroborates with yours where it wasn't just you that saw this. A completely set of other people had saw this demon. So I think that brings a lot more truth to your story. I mean, it truly does, because it's not just you saying it. Because if it's just you saying it, most people will say, "Oh, she's nuts. She was seeing things. Don't worry about it." You know, it was just something that you saw. Now,
why do we do that?
Well,
why do we do that? Why do we do that? Why do we dismiss that which is spiritual, but we don't dismiss that which is scientific? Why is it that we say seeing things instead of vision? Why is it that we say hallucination instead of vision? that God allowed you to see something that you would not normally see. And then we throw a pill on it,
Yeah.
and put you in an institution because God allowed you to see something. But because the scientific world does not really, support, the spiritual world, then,
Right.
it's why do we do that? And we run away from that which we are. We're spiritual beings. We run away from that in which we are.
Because Satan has worked very hard over thousands of years to cloud everyone's mind and make them believe that they're not spiritual and that the spiritualism does not exist. Because, Satan doesn't want people to know that he's out there. If they did, then there'd be more Christians, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, people just have clouded minds now. They'll do anything. They've been trained and conditioned over many, 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 many years to ignore any possibility of God. Hence the reason why they constantly just say, no, there's no such thing as visions, or no, there's no such thing as God because science can't prove it, or this can't prove it, or what you're saying isn't true, and so on and so forth. I have arguments with scientists all the time, or people who are scientific, I should say. They're not fun conversations by any means. They're always quick to cut throat, and, it's rough. But, hey, nonetheless, as long as brothers and sisters stick together, we keep on moving forward.
Well, the one thing that I do like is that there are a lot of, or I shouldn't say a lot of scientists, there are some scientists, especially quantum physics scientists, that are coming out and saying, yes, there has to be a creator because this is just not a random occurrence. Like, it was programmed to do this, and there had to have been somebody behind the programming. So why do we think it was just this random, there's a fart in the universe and now everything is created? And I was at that point in my life too, where I wasn't sure what was going on. But there came a point where I came back and I'm like, there's got to be something more to it than just randomness. And, once we die, we're done. There's nothing more to it. What's the point in life then if that's all there is to it?
Yeah, and and then that's the only time that we we believe it is if it's been vindicated by a couple of eggheads.
Well, I do agree there. Yeah, and
what makes them right? They're human beings who are flawed just like we are. They got to be judged just like we got to be judged. Every knee shall bow, every tongue will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. Your breath is not even yours. Your breath belongs to God. Once you take that dirt nap, as Paul would say, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Of course you're present with the Lord. You're being judged. Okay?
Right. No, I think the issue is so many of these people believe that seeing is believing, but they never take the moment to realize that the science that they believe in, they never actually saw. A lot of it is just speculation and theory. And I think once they're finally able to get that through their mind and realize, well, hey, this science isn't actually proving anything, it's all just speculation, then they start to question other possibilities and the existence of God and so on and so forth. So I think it's just on our part to keep on pushing and saying, explaining who God is, and then pray for them for God to finally lead them to that one truth that they are searching for.
They didn't have this problem back in the Old Testament. God showed up in big ways.
That's true. That's true.
I thought you were going to steal a line from Santa Claus where you were going to say, seeing isn't believing. Believing is seeing. And truly, that is how you should be looking at it. Believing is seeing. Just because you see it, you still don't believe it. Like, I just made this comment to Eric on Facebook the other day. The second coming of Jesus could come, and he would come down from the heavens, and people would look at it and be like, that's CGI. Look at that, man. He's just coming down. It's a hologram. It's a hologram. Nobody would believe it because, honestly, we've become so desensitized to so many different things now that we don't even believe what's right in front of our faces.
Well, unless you got the spirit of God in you, you'll know.
Well, right.
You'll know. I mean, according to the scripture, when he comes, we shall meet him in the air. So I'm going by what scripture says now. If something happens to show up, it's saying that it's God, and I haven't ascended anywhere yet. I'd be like, okay, now I know this is wrong. The first trumpet done went off, and I didn't hear the second one. So something should be happening right now. I should be, should be caught up to me. We shall be changed in a twinkling of an eye. We should, we should meet him in the air. We should change just like that. So I'm a little confused when people, you're going to know. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to know. One way or the other, you're going to know. So, let the spectators have their speculations. You keep that. Go ahead with your standards and try to measure that up to God's standards. See who wins. That's all I got to say.
Mm-hmm. Hear you there.
But, with the demonic thing, I'm going to be honest with you. Like I said, I don't wish anybody to see what I saw. I would even want the most horrid person who has done the worst things known to man to even see it, because that wasn't for a 14 to 15-year-old to see. I should not have seen it. Mm-hmm. Right. But it took drastic things in order for me. Maybe God said, okay, I'm going to let you see what you're doing. I'm going to let you see what you're doing. Your head is hard, so I'm going to let you see what you're doing. So he lift his hand off a little bit, let me see a little bit, and scared the bejeebies out of me. And, now here I am at age 50, going on 51, telling the story of this. I could really get into the music thing. I don't know, you guys don't have that much time, and I got a show I need to do in a few. But I tell you, I'd love to come back and talk about the music thing. We need to break that thing down. Being a DJ, we know how to manipulate people on the floor to do what we want to do. To make people do what we want them to do. But we think it's us making them do what we want to do. No, it's the music that we play. We know exactly what music to play to make people act the way we want them to act. If we want to thin out the floor, we know what to play. If we want to pack it, we know what to play. If we want to get the women on the floor, we know what to play. In other words, we know what demon to pick. Yeah. Which demon am I going to pick? Let me look at my crate.
Well, I would love to definitely get you back on to talk more about it. But yeah, you're right. We do have to let you go. So I wanted to give you a chance to tell everybody where they can find you. If you want to plug the book, if it's coming up soon, anything you want to give.
Shameless plug. You can catch me or Tory Lyon or Phil Williams or Dr. Drayvon James at Next Chapter Radio Network or ncrnetwork.com. You can check us out on our website, on YouTube. And we are no longer on Spreaker because we outgrew it. So we just went straight to YouTube. We do live streaming on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Wednesdays we do have sermons. And, you could just email us if you have questions, comments, concerns, or if you didn't like what I said. I don't care. Just email us at ncrnetworknow@gmail.com. And in case you want to get in touch with us, is 443-840-7904. That's it.
All right.
Oh, and the book. The book's supposed to come out in December. Called From Disobedience to Deliverance.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and coming on with us. And hopefully we'll get you on again soon.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to tell my story and everything. And hopefully it touched somebody and made somebody go, and think a little bit. And, read your Bible. And for those who are on the fence about things, read your Bible. Read the Word of God. Look it up. Google it, Google it. Is secular music satanic? Just what does the Bible say about secular music? There's scriptures in there. You can find it. But I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much. Right. And you have a good night.
All right. You take care.
Bye-bye.
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 All right, folks. We have let Mary Cali go, but stay tuned. We're going to be going into our post show. Excellent guest, and I loved talking to her. She's definitely a very animated person, so I'm glad we were able to get her on. So we are going to skip to break, but like I said, stay tuned. We're going to go into the post show. We'll be right back with Paratruth Radio.
Hey, this is Eric, and you're about to listen to the audio trailer of my short film, The Revealed, which is now streaming worldwide. Check it out at ericscareback.com, paratruthradio.com, and YouTube. The links are provided in the description of this episode.
Start from the beginning. When did it all begin?
Hello? When we were kids, at Old Grove Church.
This has led many scholars to question whether the God that we serve is truly omnipotent, omniscient, spiritual, or simply a New Age extraterrestrial, while others are led to question, are we truly alone in the universe?
So, these dreams,
They're different this time around.
What's up, folks? Welcome back to Paratruth Radio. My name is Eric.
And I'm Justin.
And we were just talking with Mary Cali and basically the influence or the negative influence that music can have on the population and on individuals by opening doors to demonic entities. Very, very interesting conversation and a fun conversation. Let me tell you something. Mary Cali is one heck of a storyteller. Yeah. Really painting the visuals for you. The description of the demon is pretty spot on.
I could cool. Definitely take a lesson from her in how I'm going to be writing my book.
It's very nicely done. But so here we are in the post show. Most of the time we really discuss our final views on the entire conversation that we had with our guest or on the topic that we're covering. So we've already pretty much done most of that, but I think in the end, I mean, where do you stand on this line? Because I know you don't stand on the same line that Mary does or that I do. So where are you standing now after hearing her view and her the understanding that she presented to us? What do you think about that?
Well, we've heard it from other individuals that we're friends with and everything. And, I do believe that you can create a gateway or a doorway with pretty much anything. Music is no different. There's a lot of people that would say that music is just music. Bands and artists are just expressing their views, which I agree. They're just expressing how they feel in their music. But I do feel that maybe certain types of music can lead down that dark path. Now, that's not to say I believe that all music can. On the contrary to what Mary Cali was saying, I don't believe that all secular music can bring you down that pathway. I do believe there are certain ones that can, but there is artistic expression, but I think that's what a lot of it is. I don't think it's all satanic. I think there are some that are, some that aren't, but most of it is artistic expression. So, there's a lot of people that say, both music, Hollywood, they're all in this satanic cult together. There have been people that say that there are members of the celebrity elite that are a part of the Illuminati because they're using the symbol on camera and on stage and all other stuff. And, it may be true. It may not be true. I mean, people use symbols all the time just because they think they're cool or they think they idolize something. In which case, if you're using the all-seeing eye, that obviously symbolizes something. Maybe it's not something you should be looking at, but it symbolizes something. But I think that, again, it's artistic expression. They're just using something that they've seen. And so I that's where I stand on it. How about yourself?
I think you and I are pretty much in agreement on this one. I've been listening to obviously secular music all my life. And as both, during my life as both a non-Christian and then as a Christian, I have seen really no difference as of much when it comes to listening to secular music. And I think in this case, though I agree, I think some music can lead to a demonic attack. It really depends also very much so on your mindset. Now, being a Christian and having my confidence and faith in Christ, I can listen to music with the security knowing that nothing's going to happen in a negative, nothing's going to have a negative impact on me because the Lord is with me. And this is the way I see it. If music, simply by listening to it, can have a negative influence on you and open these doors to demonic entities, then could not listening to a secular person just talk also do the same thing? Now, as Christians, we are told to have conversations with secular people, to have the conversations about God and about science and so on and so forth. But how many times does that open doors to demonic entities? Now, it can. It very well certainly can. But as long as you have,
anything can.
Right. But as long as you have your faith and your strength in Christ alone, then Satan cannot overcome you, no matter what it is. Now, you should still refrain from sin, obviously. That doesn't mean go out and get plastered drunk and start, doing bad things, with women or men, whoever you are, Obviously, there's a very, very thick line there. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's tough to say, yeah, we should only be listening to Christian music as long as it preaches the gospel and this music is about God himself. I understand what Mary was saying regarding Lecrae, because he's mixing his life story, which is often about drugs and guns and gangs, and mixing it with words and passages about God. And I see what she's saying there. But like you said, I also see creative expression. I also see him telling his life story, which is one of the main things a Christian needs to be doing. Because if you just say, oh, I'm a Christian, but you don't explain where you came from, then no one really cares. But when they see the change, yes, I was into drugs and I was in a gang and I was shooting people or being shot at and stuff like that. But hey, this is what the Lord did. That shows what God has really done to you in your life. And so, yeah, I think it really does come down to creative expression. And it really does come down to your mindset. But nonetheless, there are plenty of musicians out there who are practicing Satanists, who are practicing some kind of deviation, who are adding these things into their lyrics and their music. Look at Slipknot. That's, obviously demonic oriented. There's a lot of devil stuff there. And we see that a lot with heavy metal and, the dark metal and stuff like that. So those are things you need to pay attention to or look out for. Obviously, if there's I think people have a certain threshold. Different people have different thresholds. I can handle certain movies. I can handle certain music, but there's some things I just can't handle. Sexual content in films. I hate it. I can't do it. If there's too much of it, I won't bother to watch the film. Violence I can handle quite easily. And there's just that threshold. We know Christians who are the same way. They can handle one thing, but they can't handle another. And that just goes to show where we are in our walk spiritually, I think. And what our strengths and weaknesses are. And as long as we understand what those strengths and our weaknesses are, then we'll be okay. As long as we're not pushing and inviting these demonic entities in.
Well, like I said to her, music is a powerful thing. I mean, it can bring you back to a memory. It can bring you back to a time. And in a sense, I get what she was saying. It can make you do things like, for example, she brought up the whole, if you're listening to a certain song and you all of a sudden you notice you're doing 98 miles an hour. I've done that.
Guilty.
Now, does that mean a demon was influencing me because that music was playing? Maybe. I do think that she does have a certain point to an extent. But at the same time, we also have free will. We have the choice to give in to that. And unfortunately, a lot of people do. I mean, it's just one of those things that, as you have said in the past, we are fallen, broken people, and it's our choice to decide whether we get back up and put our site where it needs to be, or continue down that same path over and over again.
Right. I think in the end, it's very important, regardless of what you're listening to or watching, you need to be consciously and spiritually aware at all times. All right, folks. I think that just about wraps it up on the post show. Now, before we go, we do have a little bit more housekeeping.
So, as I've said numerous times in past episodes, make sure you check out FringeRadioNetwork.com, radioandpodcast.com. We are a part of those networks now. We do have new sponsors. If you guys check out paratruthradio.com, you will see that we have Loot Crate, we have Grasshopper, and we have BarkBox as sponsors, as well as Audible still as well. So definitely check those out. Links are in the show notes provided below. Anything further you needed to add?
Yeah, I mean, you guys heard, again, the trailer for The Revealed. That link is also in the show notes. You can also check it out on paratruthradio.com or my personal website, or simply just Google The Revealed. You can probably Google The Revealed, or just go to YouTube and type in The Revealed. And you're sure to find it. So if you're interested, go ahead and check that out. I'd appreciate it, and love to hear your feedback.
And if you want to find him, you can find him at 216-5. No. Hey. Just kidding, folks. You can email him at ericskurback@gmail.com if you just want to say something to him specifically about the film, or you can get in contact with us. If we covered something and we need more knowledge on it, please email us. If you agree, disagree, love to hear from you and hear your thoughts on it. We could even discuss it on air the next episode in our post show about what you had asked and what you talked to us about. So definitely get in contact with us. If you're on Paratruth Radio, there's a contact button there, or paratruthradio@gmail.com, whichever. And you can also comment and all that. And make sure you follow, subscribe, share, like. Is there anything, any other things that they can click on to follow us at all?
Man. There's so many things I don't even know anymore.
Tweet us, Facebook us,
Twitter,
Instagram us.
Instagram us, Snappy Chat. We don't have a Snapchat,
no,
but we could get a Snapchat.
We could.
Let's not get a Snapchat.
No.
Anyway, all right, folks. That's about it for the show. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to tag us and find us. Quick note, real quick. If you do plan on putting something on another Facebook page or in a forum or something like that, just know we may not see it. It's not often that we are in the forums. So please, if you are going to comment or mention something, find a more direct way to contact us, please. That'd be great. But other than that, we hope everyone has a wonderful evening or day, depending on what time it is. And we hope to catch you all next week. My name is Eric.
And I'm Justin.
Peace.
If you enjoyed this episode of Paratruth Radio and you would like to listen to it again, or are interested in listening to any of our past episodes, then you can find them at Stitcher, Blueberry, TuneIn, iTunes, Spreaker, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and the Fringe Radio Network.
Or for a one-time fix of all of your Paratruth needs, simply drop in to paratruthradio.com.
And of course, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram for brand new updates on our show every day.
Finally, we love bringing you fresh, entertaining media each and every week, but we can't do it without you. So please check out our Patreon account. Simply go to paratruthradio.com, click on the Patreon logo, and help us to continue bringing you the latest and greatest in paranormal research.